Welcome to the Cozy Curiosity channel, a gentle space where learning meets rest and wonder softly carries you towards sleep. Tonight, we take flight into the world of birds, creatures who have claimed the sky as home, who sing at dawn and navigate by starlight, who build with care and migrate across impossible distances. Birds are among Earth's most successful animals, inhabiting every continent, every climate, from frozen Antarctic shores to scorching deserts, from dense rainforests to open oceans. They've evolved over millions of years from dinosaur ancestors, refining the gift of flight into an art form. From the hummingbird's hovering heartbeat to the albatross gliding for years without touching land, from the penguin's underwater ballet to the owl's silent hunt, birds hold mysteries in feather and bone. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, settle in. Let your breathing slow and allow these facts to drift through your mind like clouds across an open sky. There's no need to remember everything, no need to hold on to every detail. Just listen, wonder, and let yourself be carried gently into rest, supported by the knowledge that the natural world is vast, beautiful, and endlessly fascinating. Some birds sleep while flying through the air. High above the ocean, frigate birds can soar for weeks without landing. And during these journeys, they've learned to sleep on the wing. Scientists tracking their brain activity discovered that frigate birds take brief naps lasting only seconds at a time, sometimes with one hemisphere of the brain asleep while the other stays awake. This allows them to monitor their flight path and avoid collisions even while resting. They sleep far less during flight than they do on land, catching mere minutes of rest across an entire day aloft. The sleeping hemisphere shows slow-wave sleep patterns similar to what we experience in deep sleep, while the waking hemisphere remains alert to the surrounding environment. It's a delicate balance between survival and exhaustion, a compromise written into their biology over millions of years of evolution. The sky offers no perch, no safe harbor, so they've adapted to rest within motion itself, drifting through twilight with their eyes half closed and their wings still spread wide against the wind, trusting in the ancient rhythms that keep them aloft even as consciousness fades. The Arctic tern migrates farther than any other animal. Each year, this small seabird embarks on a journey that defies imagination. Breeding in the Arctic during the northern summer, it then flies south to the Antarctic for the southern summer, experiencing more daylight than any other creature on Earth. The tour round trip can exceed 44,000 miles, a distance greater than the circumference of the planet. Over its lifetime of around 30 years, an Arctic tern may travel more than 1.5 million miles, equivalent to 3 round trips to the moon. The birds follow coastlines and prevailing winds, feeding on fish and small crustaceans along the way. They time their migration to coincide with abundant food sources at staging areas, resting briefly on remote islands and coastal waters. Their bodies are built for endurance, with long, pointed wings that slice through air with minimal resistance, and lightweight bones that reduce the energy cost of flight. Their migration is not just distance, it's endurance, navigation, and an unbroken commitment to follow the light across hemispheres. They are citizens of 2 poles, forever chasing summer across the width of the world, never knowing true darkness living in a state of perpetual daylight that most creatures could never sustain. Hummingbirds have the fastest metabolism of any bird. To fuel their hovering flight, a hummingbird's heart can beat over 1,200 times per minute during active flight, and they must consume more than their body weight in nectar every single day just to survive. Their wings beat up to 80 times per second, creating the iconic hum that gives them their name. This incredible wing speed allows them to hover in place, fly backwards, and maneuver with precision that no other bird can match. To survive the night when they can't feed, hummingbirds enter a state called torpor, a hibernation-like condition where their metabolism slows dramatically and their body temperature drops from around 104 degrees Fahrenheit to as low as 48 degrees. Without this adaptation, they would starve before morning, burning through their limited fat reserves in just a few hours. In torpor, their heartbeat can fall to as low as 50 beats per minute, a dramatic shift from their daytime rate. At dawn, they must warm themselves back up, shivering their flight muscles to generate heat, a process that can take 20 minutes or more. It's a daily resurrection, a return from near death, a biological miracle that allows them to sustain one of the most energetically expensive lifestyles in the animal kingdom, living constantly on the edge between vitality and collapse. Crows can recognize and remember human faces. Research has shown that crows not only distinguish between individual people, but also remember those who have threatened or helped them, sometimes for years. In experiments conducted at the University of Washington, crows scolded researchers who had previously captured them, even when those researchers wore different clothing or changed their appearance. More remarkably, crows seemed to share this information with other crows who weren't present during the initial encounter, possibly through vocalizations or behavioral demonstrations. Within days, entire groups may mob a person who wronged just one bird, dive bombing and calling loudly in coordinated harassment. This suggests a form of social learning and cultural transmission rarely seen outside of primates. Crows hold grudges with remarkable persistence, but they also remember kindness with equal clarity. People who regularly feed crows report being greeted enthusiastically, followed on their daily routes, and even brought small gifts. Shiny objects like coins, buttons, or pieces of glass left as tokens of appreciation. Some crow researchers have received gifts for years from birds they helped. In the world of birds, few creatures watch us as closely, remember us as clearly, or judge our character as thoroughly as the crow. Penguins propose to their mates with pebbles. In the harsh landscape of Antarctica, where resources are scarce and conditions brutal, Gentoo and Adelie penguins have developed a charming courtship ritual that speaks to the importance of partnership in survival. A male penguin will search the rocky terrain for the smoothest, most perfect pebble he can find, sometimes traveling considerable distances and examining dozens of stones before selecting just the right one. He then presents it to the female he hopes to bond with, bowing and vocalizing in what appears to be a formal proposal. If she accepts, she places the pebble in her nest, and the pair begins their partnership, which often lasts for many breeding seasons. These pebbles are precious, needed to build nests that keep eggs off the frozen ground and prevent them from rolling away or getting wet. The nest must be high enough to avoid meltwater during the brief Antarctic summer. Some penguins even steal pebbles from neighboring nests when no one is looking, leading to disputes and occasional fights. The gesture is small, but its meaning is profound. A tangible gift, an offering of care, a foundation for the family they will raise together in one of Earth's most unforgiving environments. In one of the coldest places on the planet, love is built one stone at a time. Owls fly almost silently through the night. While most birds create audible noise as air rushes over their feathers, owls have evolved specialized wing structures that allow them to fly in near complete silence, a crucial adaptation for nocturnal hunting. The leading edges of their primary flight feathers have comb-like serrations that break up turbulence into smaller, quieter microturbulences, while a soft, hair-like fringe on the trailing edge further reduces sound even more. Their feathers also have a velvety texture created by a specialized structure that dampens vibration and absorbs sound. This triple-layered approach to noise reduction makes the owl's flight quieter than any other bird of comparable size. This near-silent flight is essential for hunting, allowing owls to approach prey like mice, voles, and rabbits without being detected until the very last moment. Mice, voles, and other small animals, whose survival depends on acute hearing, never hear the approach until talons are already descending. The silence also helps the owl itself, as it relies heavily on hearing to locate prey in complete darkness, using asymmetrically placed ears to triangulate sound sources. By eliminating the noise of its own wings, the owl can listen more clearly to the rustle of movement below in grass or snow, turning the night into a theater of sound and shadow where it reigns as the supreme acoustic predator. Flamingos are pink because of their diet. Flamingos are born with grey or white feathers, and their signature pink, orange, or even red hue develops over time as they consume algae, brine shrimp, and other small organisms rich in carotenoid pigments. These pigments, the same compounds that make carrots orange and tomatoes red, are broken down in the liver and deposited into growing feathers, skin, and even the yolks of their eggs. The metabolic process is complex, requiring specific enzymes to convert the carotenoids into the forms that produce color. The intensity of a flamingo's color can indicate its health and diet quality, and in the wild, brighter birds are often more successful at attracting mates because vivid coloration signals good foraging ability and overall fitness. A pale flamingo may be ill, old, or living in an area with poor food resources. In captivity, flamingos may lose their color if not fed a diet that includes these pigments, their feathers gradually fading to white or pale gray. Zoos often supplement their food with spirulina algae or synthetic carotenoids to maintain the vibrant plumage that visitors expect. So the flamingo's beauty is not inherent or fixed. It's earned meal by meal, a living reflection of what the bird consumes and the environment it inhabits, a reminder that we truly are what we eat. The albatross can glide for hours without flapping its wings. With a wingspan that can reach over 11 feet, the wandering albatross is a master of dynamic soaring, a sophisticated technique that exploits wind gradients above the ocean surface. By angling its long, narrow wings and carefully adjusting its altitude, the albatross can extract energy from the wind itself, converting wind shear into forward motion and altitude gain. It flies in a repetitive pattern, climbing into faster moving air at higher altitudes, then banking and descending back toward the slower air near the water's surface, gaining speed with each cycle. This allows the bird to glide for hours or even days without a single wing beat, covering vast distances with minimal energy expenditure. It flies vast distances across the Southern Ocean, sometimes traveling over 500 miles in a single day. And some individuals have been tracked circumnavigating the entire Antarctic continent. These birds come to land only to breed on remote subantarctic islands, spending the majority of their lives, sometimes years at a stretch, aloft above the waves, never touching solid ground. They sleep on the water at night, drink seawater using specialized salt-excreting glands, and feed on squid and fish caught at the surface, or just below. Some albatrosses have been tracked circumnavigating Antarctica multiple times in a single year, traveling tens of thousands of miles. For them, the sky above the endless ocean is not a place to pass through. It is home, habitat, and whole world combined. Parrots can live longer than most humans. Some species of parrots, particularly large macaws, cockatoos, and Amazon parrots, have lifespans that regularly exceed 50 years in captivity with proper care, and there are verified records of individuals living past 80, with some claims reaching into the 90s or beyond. The oldest confirmed parrot was a Major Mitchell's cockatoo named Cookie, who lived to be 83 years old at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago. In captivity, with proper care, veterinary attention, and a healthy diet, a parrot may outlive the person who first brought it home, sometimes by decades. This longevity brings unique emotional and practical challenges. Parrots form deep, lasting emotional bonds with their caregivers, and losing a companion through death or rehoming can lead to severe stress, depression, feather plucking, self-mutilation, and even shortened lifespan. Their intelligence and exceptional memory mean they retain experiences, voices, and even specific events across decades. A parrot might remember a song from its youth, a particular phrase spoken by a loved one who died years ago, or a daily routine established in a house it no longer lives in. Some parrots outlive multiple owners, passing through different homes and families like living heirlooms. In this way, parrots become living archives of human lives, carrying forward the echoes of voices, laughter, and routines from homes they've passed through, witnesses to the passage of time in ways that few other companion animals can match. Woodpeckers absorb impact with specialized skulls. A woodpecker strikes a tree up to 20 times per second, with a force that can reach 200 times the force of gravity, experiencing impacts that would cause severe brain injury or even death in most animals, including humans. To withstand this repeated trauma, woodpeckers have evolved a unique suite of remarkable anatomical adaptations that work together as a comprehensive shock absorption system. Their skulls are thick, with a spongy bone structure that absorbs and dissipates impact forces before they reach the brain. The brain itself is tightly packed inside the skull with minimal cerebrospinal fluid, which prevents it from sloshing around and sustaining impact injuries. A specialized bone called the hyoid wraps around the skull from the tongue like a built-in seatbelt, distributing impact forces more evenly across the entire structure. Their brains are also oriented differently from most birds, positioned to minimize rotational injury during the rapid deceleration that occurs with each peck. Even their tongues play a protective role. Long, muscular, and incredibly flexible, they coil around the back of the skull when not in use, adding another layer of cushioning around the brain. Some species' tongues can extend 3 times the length of their bills. Every peck is a controlled collision, a calculated strike that excavates wood-boring insects from deep within tree bark, creates nest cavities in dead or living trees, and communicates territorial boundaries through distinctive drumming patterns. The sound echoes through forests worldwide, a rhythmic drumbeat, proof that evolution can turn what seems like vulnerability into remarkable strength. Birds can see colors humans cannot perceive. While humans have 3 types of color receptors in their eyes, most birds have 4, allowing them to see into the ultraviolet spectrum. This changes everything. Flowers that look plain to us may have vivid UV patterns that guide birds to nectar. Feathers that seem identical in human vision may display striking contrasts under UV light, used in courtship and species recognition. Some birds of prey use UV vision to track the urine trails left by rodents, which reflect ultraviolet light. The world birds perceive is richer, more layered, filled with signals and colors invisible to us. When a bird looks at you, it sees more than you can imagine. A spectrum beyond your comprehension. A reality painted in shades you'll never know. The common swift spends almost its entire life in the air. After fledging, a young swift may not touch the ground again for 2 or 3 years. It eats, sleeps, and even mates while airborne. Swifts feed on insects caught in flight, drink by skimming the surface of lakes, and sleep in short bursts while gliding at high altitudes. Their legs are so short and weak that if they land on flat ground, they struggle to take off again. Evolution has streamlined them for the sky, sacrificing terrestrial ability for aerial mastery. They return to land only to nest, clinging to vertical surfaces like cliffs or building walls. For a swift, the earth is a distant memory, a place visited briefly before returning to the open air. The sky is not a highway, it is their entire world. Chickens are descendants of jungle fowl from Southeast Asia. The domestic chicken, one of the most widespread birds on the planet, traces its ancestry back to the red jungle fowl of tropical forests in Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Domestication likely began over 8,000 years ago, and through selective breeding, humans have created hundreds of breeds with wildly different appearances and behaviors. Despite this, chickens retain many behaviors from their wild ancestors: dust bathing, roosting in trees, foraging in leaf litter, and establishing pecking orders. A feral chicken, given the chance, will revert to jungle-like habits within a generation. In this way, even the most ordinary backyard hen carries within it an ancient blueprint, a memory of rainforests and wild mornings, of a time before coops and fences, when all chickens were wild. Secretary birds stomp snakes to death with powerful legs. Native to the African savanna, the secretary bird is a striking raptor that hunts on foot rather than from the air. Standing over 4 feet tall, with long legs and a distinctive crest of feathers, it stalks through grasslands in search of prey. When it encounters a snake, even a venomous one, the secretary bird attacks with brutal efficiency. It delivers rapid, powerful kicks with its feet, stomping the snake's head and body repeatedly until it's incapacitated. Each kick can deliver a force 5 times the bird's body weight, striking in mere milliseconds. This method allows the bird to kill dangerous prey without risking a bite. It's a dramatic reminder that not all raptors hunt from above. Some walk the earth, patient and lethal, turning the ground itself into a hunting field. Cuckoos lay their eggs in other birds' nests. The common cuckoo is a brood parasite, meaning it doesn't raise its own young. Instead, the female watches other birds build nests, waits for the right moment, then sneaks in and lays a single egg. She often removes one of the host's eggs to avoid detection. The cuckoo chick hatches early and grows rapidly. In many cases, it pushes the host's eggs or chicks out of the nest, securing all the food for itself. The host parents, unable to recognize the imposter, continue feeding the cuckoo chick even as it grows far larger than they are. It's a ruthless strategy, honed over millennia. The cuckoo invests no energy in parenting, only in deception, and somehow it works. The cycle continues, season after season, a quiet crime hidden in plain sight. Pigeons can navigate using Earth's magnetic field. Pigeons are among the world's best navigators, capable of finding their way home across hundreds of miles of unfamiliar terrain. Research suggests they have multiple navigation systems. They use the sun's position, recognize landmarks, and even detect the Earth's magnetic field. Tiny magnetic particles in their beaks may function as an internal compass. In experiments, disrupting this magnetic sense with magnets attached to the birds caused them to lose their way. Pigeons also seem to use smell and low-frequency sound waves to orient themselves. This redundancy ensures that even if one system fails, they have backups. To us, a pigeon may seem ordinary, common, unremarkable, but in truth, they are living compasses, carrying within them a technology we still don't fully understand. Pelicans have air sacs under their skin to cushion dives. When a brown pelican plunges into the water from heights of up to 60 feet, it hits the surface at high speed. To protect its body from the impact, the pelican has a network of air sacs beneath its skin, particularly around the chest and neck. These sacs act like bubble wrap, cushioning the bones and internal organs. The bird's pouch also helps, expanding to scoop up fish and water in a single gulp. After surfacing, the pelican drains the water and swallows the catch. The dive itself is a calculated act of violence, a controlled crash, a reliance on biology to absorb what would otherwise be catastrophic force. It's effective, efficient, and repeated dozens of times a day, each dive a small leap of faith into the unknown below. Falcons are the fastest animals on Earth. The peregrine falcon, when diving in a hunting stoop, can reach speeds exceeding 240 miles per hour. At this velocity, the falcon tucks its wings tight to its body, becoming a living missile. It targets other birds in mid-flight, striking them with its talons in a high-speed collision that often kills instantly. To survive such speeds, the falcon has evolved special adaptations: baffles in its nostrils, slow incoming air, and prevent lung damage, while a third eyelid protects its eyes. Its bones are incredibly strong, yet lightweight. The peregrine's speed is not reckless, it's precision. Every stoop is controlled, calculated, a masterwork of physics and instinct. In that moment, hurtling toward prey, the falcon is not just fast, it is perfection in motion. Songbirds learn their songs from their parents. Just as human children learn language, many songbirds learn their songs by listening to adult birds, usually their fathers. During a critical period early in life, young birds memorize the sounds they hear. Later, they practice, refining their vocalizations through trial and error until they match the template. If a young bird is raised in isolation, it may produce only simple, unstructured sounds. In some species, regional dialects develop, passed down through generations like cultural traditions. White-crowned sparrows in California sing differently from those in Washington. These dialects can be so distinct that birds from different regions may not recognize each other's songs. In this way, birdsong is not purely genetic, it's learned, cultural, and evolving, a living tradition carried forward in sound. The ostrich has the largest eyes of any land animal. Each of an ostrich's eyes is about 2 inches in diameter, larger than its brain. These enormous eyes give the bird exceptional vision, allowing it to spot predators from great distances across the open savannas of Africa. An ostrich can see clearly for over 2 miles in daylight. This early warning system is critical, as the ostrich cannot fly and must rely on speed to escape danger. It can run at speeds over 40 miles per hour, making it the fastest bird on land. Those massive eyes are constantly scanning the horizon, watching for movement, shadow, threat. In a landscape where visibility equals survival, the ostrich has evolved to see farther and clearer than nearly any other creature, a watchful sentinel in a world of grass and sky. Vultures have stomach acid strong enough to digest bones. Feeding on carrion exposes vultures to bacteria, toxins, and pathogens that would sicken most animals. But vultures have evolved incredibly acidic stomachs, with pH levels around 1, strong enough to dissolve bone and neutralize anthrax, botulism, and cholera. This allows them to safely consume carcasses that other scavengers avoid. Their bald heads also serve a purpose. Feathers would become matted with blood and gore, creating a breeding ground for bacteria. A bare head is easier to keep clean. Vultures play a vital ecological role, removing disease from the environment before it spreads. They are nature's cleanup crew, unglamorous but essential. Without them, landscapes would be littered with decay, and diseases would flourish. In their grim work, there is grace, a necessary cycle of death and renewal. Blue jays can mimic the calls of hawks. Blue jays are talented vocal mimics, and one of their favorite sounds to imitate is the cry of a red-tailed hawk. Scientists believe they do this for several reasons: to warn other jays of a nearby predator, to scare competitors away from food sources, or simply as a form of play. The mimicry is so accurate that even experienced birders can be fooled. Jays are intelligent, curious, and mischievous, known for caching food, recognizing individual humans, and working together to mob predators. Their ability to imitate other species adds another layer to their social complexity. In the forest, sound is information, and by borrowing the voice of a hawk, the blue jay gains power, influence, and control over its environment, all without lifting a talon. Kingfishers dive with their eyes closed. When a kingfisher plunges into the water to catch a fish, it closes a transparent third eyelid called a nictitating membrane just before impact. This protects the eye from debris and the shock of hitting the water at high speed. The bird has already locked onto its target before diving, relying on precise calculation of angle and refraction. Water bends light, making fish appear in a different location than they actually are. But the kingfisher's brain compensates for this distortion. The entire dive, from perch to splash to emergence, takes only a second or two. Most of the time, the bird surfaces with a fish clamped firmly in its beak. It's a performance of physics, instinct, and timing, repeated flawlessly, day after day, along riverbanks and lake shores around the world. Some birds use tools to find food. The New Caledonian crow is one of the most skilled tool users in the animal kingdom. These crows fashion hooks from twigs, strip leaves from branches to create probes, and even use multiple tools in sequence to solve problems. In the wild, They use these tools to extract grubs from tree bark and access food in hard-to-reach places. Remarkably, they can modify tools to improve their effectiveness and even teach their offspring how to use them. This behavior was once thought unique to primates, but crows have shattered that assumption. Tool use requires planning, understanding cause and effect, and the ability to imagine a future state. In the mind of a crow, there is foresight, creativity, and a kind of intelligence that feels unsettlingly familiar. Geese fly in V formations to save energy. When geese migrate, they arrange themselves in a distinctive V shape, and there's a precise reason for this. Each bird flies slightly above and behind the one in front, positioning itself in the updraft, created by the leading bird's wing beat. This reduces air resistance and allows the trailing birds to conserve energy. Studies show that flying in formation can improve efficiency by up to 70%. The lead position is the most exhausting, so the geese take turns, rotating leadership throughout the journey. When one bird tires, it falls back and another takes its place. It's a system built on cooperation, a shared burden that allows the flock to travel farther than any single bird could alone. In the sky, they are not just individuals, they are a collective, moving as one. Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backward. Thanks to a unique shoulder joint, hummingbirds can rotate their wings in a full circle, allowing them to hover, fly sideways, and even fly in reverse. Their wings beat in a figure-8 pattern, generating lift on both the forward and backward strokes. This agility is essential for feeding on nectar from flowers, where precision and control matter more than speed. Hovering in place requires immense energy, which is why hummingbirds have such high metabolic rates. Every movement is a calculated expenditure of fuel, every flower a refueling station. In gardens and forests, they dart and hover like tiny helicopters, defying the rules that govern most birds, rewriting what it means to fly. Ravens can plan for the future. In laboratory experiments, ravens have demonstrated the ability to plan for future needs, a cognitive skill once thought unique to humans and great apes. They can choose a tool that will be useful later, even if it's not needed immediately, and they can delay gratification, selecting a better reward that comes later over a smaller one available now. In the wild, ravens cache food in different locations and remember where they've hidden it, sometimes for months. If they suspect another raven is watching, they'll wait until the observer leaves before hiding food, or they'll create fake caches to deceive potential thieves. This suggests not only memory and planning, but also theory of mind, the understanding that others have thoughts and intentions. The raven's intelligence is ancient, sharp, and unnerving. The kakapo is a flightless parrot from New Zealand. Once widespread across New Zealand, the kakapo is now one of the world's rarest birds, with only around 250 individuals remaining. It's the heaviest parrot, weighing up to 9 pounds, and it cannot fly. Instead, it climbs trees and glides short distances. The kakapo is nocturnal, solitary, and has a strange breeding system. Males gather in traditional display areas called leks, where they inflate air sacs and produce deep booming calls that can be heard over 2 miles away. Females visit these leks, choose a mate, and raise chicks alone. The kakapo's decline came with the arrival of humans and introduced predators like rats, cats, and stoats. Now, every kakapo has a name, a radio transmitter, and a team of conservationists working to ensure its survival. It is a species on the edge, precious and fragile. Toucans regulate body temperature through their beaks. A toucan's beak can be nearly as long as its body, and while it looks cumbersome, it's surprisingly lightweight, made of hollow bone struts covered in keratin. One of its functions is thermoregulation. The beak is rich in blood vessels, and by controlling blood flow, the toucan can release excess heat or retain warmth as needed. In the heat of the rainforest, the beak acts like a radiator, dissipating warmth. At night, or in cooler conditions, the bird reduces blood flow, tucking its beak under a wing to conserve heat. This makes the beak not just a tool for feeding and display, but also a sophisticated climate control system, allowing the toucan to thrive in the variable temperatures of the tropical canopy. Bar-headed geese fly over the Himalayas during migration. Twice a year, bar-headed geese migrate between breeding grounds in Central Asia and wintering areas in India, crossing the Himalayas in the process. They've been recorded flying at altitudes over 21,000 feet, where oxygen levels are less than half those at sea level. To cope, they have larger lungs, more efficient hemoglobin, and the ability to take deeper, faster breaths. They also fly at night when the air is denser and provides slightly more oxygen. The journey is brutal, lasting hours at elevations where most animals would suffer hypoxia and collapse. Yet the geese persist, wings beating steadily through thin, freezing air, navigating by stars and memory, crossing the roof of the world twice each year without hesitation. Lyrebirds are master mimics of sound. The superb lyrebird of Australia is renowned for its vocal abilities. Males can imitate not only other bird species, but also mechanical sounds from their environment. Chainsaws, camera shutters, car alarms, and even human speech. They incorporate these sounds into elaborate songs performed during courtship displays. The mimicry is astonishingly accurate, sometimes indistinguishable from the original source. A single male may have a repertoire of over a dozen species calls, plus a variety of environmental sounds. The purpose is to impress females, demonstrating the male's experience, age, and quality. In the forest, the lyrebird becomes a living recorder, a voice that echoes not just nature, but also the encroachment of human civilization, a soundscape preserved in song. Barn owls hunt primarily by sound. In total darkness, a barn owl can locate and capture a mouse using hearing alone. Its face is shaped like a satellite dish, with stiff feathers forming a disc that channels sound toward asymmetrical ear openings. One ear is higher than the other, allowing the owl to pinpoint the vertical and horizontal location of a sound source with incredible precision. The owl's brain processes minute differences in the timing and volume of sounds reaching each ear, creating a mental map of its surroundings. This acoustic hunting allows the owl to strike with lethal accuracy, even when it cannot see its prey. In barns, fields, and abandoned buildings, the barn owl moves through darkness like a ghost, silent and certain, guided by sound alone. Cassowaries are among the most dangerous birds. Native to the rainforests of New Guinea and northern Australia, the cassowary is a large, flightless bird that can stand over 6 feet tall and weigh more than 130 pounds. It has powerful legs tipped with dagger-like claws, the innermost of which can be up to 5 inches long. When threatened, a cassowary can kick with devastating force, capable of disemboweling a predator or even killing a human. Despite their fearsome reputation, cassowaries are generally shy and avoid confrontation. They play a critical ecological role, dispersing the seeds of rainforest plants by eating fruit and traveling long distances. Still, they command respect. In the forest's shadows, the cassowary moves with quiet dignity, a reminder that beauty and danger often walk hand in hand. Swans mate for life and mourn their partners. Swans are symbols of fidelity, and for good reason. Most swan species form monogamous pair bonds that last for many years, often for life. They build nests together, share parenting duties, and return to the same nesting sites year after year. When one partner dies, the surviving swan may show signs of grief, calling out, refusing to eat, or staying near the place where the partner was last seen. Some eventually find new mates, but others remain alone. This behavior suggests a depth of emotional connection rare in the animal kingdom. In the stillness of a lake at dawn, a lone swan gliding across the water carries within it a story, a bond, a memory. Even birds, it seems, understand loss. The hoatzin has claws on its wings as a chick. Found in the Amazon basin, the hoatzin is sometimes called the stink bird due to its unusual smell, a result of its unique digestive system. But perhaps its strangest feature is found in its young. Hoatzin chicks are born with 2 claws on each wing, a primitive trait that allows them to climb through branches. If threatened by a predator, the chicks drop from the nest into the water below, then use their claws to climb back up once danger has passed. As they mature, the claws are absorbed and lost. The hoatzin is sometimes considered a living fossil, a glimpse into what ancient birds may have looked like. In the tangled green of the rainforest, evolution has preserved a remnant of deep time. Penguins can drink seawater without harm. Most animals, including humans, cannot safely drink seawater, as the high salt content dehydrates the body. But penguins have specialized glands near their eyes that filter excess salt from their bloodstream. The concentrated brine is then excreted through their nostrils, allowing them to drink seawater and eat salty fish without issue. This adaptation is essential for survival in the ocean, where fresh water is unavailable. After feeding, you might see a penguin shaking its head or sneezing, expelling the salty fluid. It's a small but vital mechanism, one that allows penguins to live their entire lives surrounded by water they can actually use. The ocean is not just their home, it is also their drinking fountain. Roosters crow to establish territory and dominance. The rooster's crow is iconic, often associated with dawn, but roosters crow throughout the day and even at night. The primary purpose is communication, asserting dominance, marking territory, and coordinating with the flock. The loudest, most persistent crower is usually the dominant male. Interestingly, roosters have an internal circadian rhythm that triggers crowing before sunrise, even in the absence of light cues. Research also shows that roosters close their ear canals when they crow, protecting their hearing from the loud sound. At over 130 decibels, a rooster's crow at close range is louder than a chainsaw. It's a declaration, a warning, and a reminder that even in the quiet of early morning, some voices refuse to be silenced. Bald eagles are not actually bald. The name is misleading. Adult bald eagles have a full head of white feathers, which contrasts sharply with their dark brown bodies. The term bald comes from an Old English word, balde, meaning white. Juveniles, however, are entirely brown and don't develop the distinctive white head and tail until they're about 5 years old. Bald eagles are powerful hunters and opportunistic scavengers, feeding on fish, small mammals, and carrion. They build some of the largest nests of any bird, massive structures of sticks that can weigh over a ton and be used for decades. Once endangered in the United States due to DDT poisoning and habitat loss, bald eagles have made a remarkable recovery, a testament to conservation efforts and the resilience of nature. Finches helped Darwin develop his theory of evolution. During his voyage on the HMS Beagle, Charles Darwin collected specimens from the Galapagos Islands, including several species of small birds now known as Darwin's finches. Though he didn't fully appreciate their significance at the time, these finches later became central to his understanding of natural selection. Each island had finches with differently shaped beaks, adapted to the specific food sources available. Some had thick beaks for cracking seeds, others had slender beaks for catching insects, and still others had elongated beaks for probing flowers. These variations, Darwin realized, were the result of adaptation over time. The finches were not fixed forms, but evolving populations shaped by their environments. In these small birds, he saw the fingerprint of a process that explained all life on Earth. Roadrunners can kill and eat rattlesnakes. The greater roadrunner, a ground-dwelling bird of the American Southwest, is a fierce predator. It feeds on lizards, insects, small mammals, and even venomous snakes. When confronting a rattlesnake, the roadrunner uses speed and agility, darting in to strike the snake's head with its sharp beak, then retreating before the snake can retaliate. It repeats this hit-and-run tactic until the snake is exhausted or dead. The roadrunner then swallows the snake whole, sometimes over the course of several hours if the snake is particularly long. Roadrunners can run at speeds up to 20 miles per hour, preferring to sprint rather than fly. They are symbols of the desert, tough, resourceful, and unafraid. In a landscape of heat and danger, they thrive. Some birds dance to attract mates. In the forests of New Guinea and Australia, male birds of paradise perform some of the most elaborate courtship displays in the animal kingdom. They dance, pose, and show off brilliantly colored plumage in carefully choreographed routines. Some clear areas of the forest floor to create stages, removing leaves and debris to highlight their performance. Others hang upside down, flare iridescent feathers, or produce mechanical sounds with specially adapted feathers. Females watch from nearby perches, judging the males on their appearance, stamina, and skill. Only the most impressive performers earn the chance to mate. These displays are not just instinct, they're refined over a lifetime, practiced and perfected. In the dim light of the rainforest, beauty and performance become survival. Time tends. Turkey vultures find food using their sense of smell. Unlike most birds, which rely primarily on vision, turkey vultures have an acute sense of smell. They can detect the scent of ethyl mercaptan, a gas produced by decaying flesh, from over a mile away. This allows them to locate carcasses hidden beneath forest canopies or dense vegetation, where visual hunters might miss them. Other vulture species, like black vultures, have poorer senses of smell and often follow turkey vultures to food sources. Gas companies even add ethyl mercaptan to natural gas so that leaks smell like decay, inadvertently attracting turkey vultures to pipelines. In the quiet of the sky, the turkey vulture circles, not watching, but smelling, following invisible trails of scent that lead to sustenance. The kiwi is the only bird with nostrils at the tip of its beak. Native to New Zealand, the kiwi is a flightless, nocturnal bird, roughly the size of a chicken. Its beak is long, flexible, and sensitive, equipped with nostrils at the very tip. a unique adaptation that allows the kiwi to sniff out earthworms, insects, and grubs hidden in the soil. It probes the ground like a living metal detector, relying almost entirely on smell and touch rather than sight. The kiwi's eyes are small, and its vision is poor. But in the darkness of the forest floor, this doesn't matter. It has evolved for a different kind of perception, one rooted in the earth itself. The kiwi is a reminder that intelligence takes many forms, and not all of them require seeing. Magpies can recognize themselves in mirrors. The mirror test is a classic measure of self-awareness, and magpies are one of the few non-mammalian species to pass it. When marked with a colored sticker in a spot they can only see in a reflection, magpies attempt to remove the mark from their own bodies, indicating they understand the image in the mirror is themselves. This suggests a level of self-recognition previously thought to be limited to great apes, elephants, and dolphins. Magpies are highly intelligent, known for their problem-solving abilities, complex social behaviors, and even what appears to be mourning for dead companions. In the mind of a magpie, there exists a concept of self, a boundary between me and not me, a flicker of awareness that feels strangely familiar. The Greater Honey Guide leads humans to beehives. In parts of Africa, the Greater Honey Guide has developed a remarkable relationship with human honey hunters. The bird seeks out wild beehives, then calls out to attract the attention of nearby people. It leads them to the hive, flying from tree to tree, waiting for the humans to follow. Once the humans open the hive and take the honey, the bird feeds on the beeswax and larvae left behind. This mutualistic relationship has likely existed for thousands of years, passed down through generations of both birds and people. The Honey Guide even responds to specific calls made by human honey hunters, suggesting learned communication. It's a partnership forged in practicality, a shared understanding between species, spoken in gesture and reward. Condors can soar for hours without flapping. The Andean condor and California condor are among the largest flying birds, with wingspans exceeding 10 feet. They are masters of thermal soaring, riding rising columns of warm air called thermals to gain altitude, then gliding long distances while barely moving their wings. A condor can travel over 100 miles in a single day using this method, expending minimal energy. They search vast areas for carrion, relying on keen eyesight to spot carcasses from great heights. All condors are critically endangered, victims of habitat loss, poisoning, and collisions with power lines. Conservation efforts have brought them back from the brink, but their populations remain small and fragile. To see a condor soaring overhead is to witness endurance, grace, and the quiet persistence of survival. Some birds build bowers to impress females. Bowerbirds, found in Australia and New Guinea, construct elaborate structures called bowers to attract mates. These are not nests, but display stages, carefully built and decorated with colorful objects. Flowers, berries, shells, feathers, and even human-made items like bottle caps and plastic fragments. Each species has its own architectural style. Some build avenue-shaped bowers. Others create maypole structures around a sapling. Males spend hours arranging and rearranging decorations, and they may steal prized items from rival males. Females tour multiple bowers before choosing a mate, judging the male on the quality of his construction and decoration. In the dim forest light, these bowers stand as monuments to effort, creativity, and the strange lengths to which beauty will go. Emus cannot walk backward. The emu, Australia's largest bird, has powerful legs built for forward motion. Its knee joints and leg structure make it nearly impossible to move in reverse. This quirk of anatomy is why the emu, along with the kangaroo, appears on Australia's coat of arms, symbolizing a nation that moves forward and never back. Emus are fast runners, reaching speeds of 30 miles per hour, and they're excellent swimmers. They travel long distances in search of food and water, adapting to the harsh and variable Australian climate. Despite being flightless, they are resilient and resourceful, survivors in one of the driest inhabited continents on Earth. The emu's inability to retreat is not a weakness, it's a declaration of momentum, a refusal to look back. Puffins mate for life and return to the same burrow. Atlantic puffins are seabirds that spend most of their lives on the open ocean, but each spring they return to coastal cliffs to breed. Pairs reunite at the same burrow year after year, greeting each other with a behavior called billing, where they rub their beaks together. They dig burrows or claim crevices in the rock, laying a single egg. Both parents take turns incubating and feeding the chick. Puffins are skilled divers, using their wings to fly underwater while hunting small fish. They can carry multiple fish crosswise in their beaks at once, thanks to backward-facing spines on their tongues and palates. In the cold North Atlantic, puffins are symbols of loyalty, returning home season after season, faithful to place and partner. The killdeer fakes injury to protect its nest. The killdeer, a type of plover, nests on the ground in open areas, making its eggs vulnerable to predators. When a threat approaches, the adult killdeer performs a distraction display known as the broken wing act. It moves away from the nest, dragging one wing as if injured, calling loudly to draw attention. The predator, seeing what appears to be easy prey, follows the bird. Once the threat is far enough from the nest, the killdeer suddenly recovers and flies away, leaving the predator confused and empty-handed. It's a calculated deception, a performance honed by evolution. In the vulnerability of open ground, the killdeer has learned to weaponize theater, turning weakness into cunning. Hummingbirds remember every flower they've visited. To maximize efficiency, hummingbirds have excellent spatial memory. They remember the locations of individual flowers and the timing of nectar replenishment. Once a flower has been drained, the hummingbird won't revisit it until enough time has passed for the nectar to be replenished. This prevents wasted effort and ensures the bird can maintain its intense energy needs. Research has shown that hummingbirds can even remember the locations of feeders removed years earlier, returning to the exact spots where they once fed. Their brains, though tiny, are remarkably sophisticated, capable of mapping and tracking resources across large territories. In the garden, the hummingbird is not just feeding, it is remembering, calculating, and optimizing every moment of its fleeting, high-speed existence. Storks are silent because they lack vocal organs. Most storks have poorly developed syrinxes, the avian vocal organ, which means they cannot produce complex songs or calls. Instead, they communicate through bill clattering, a loud, rapid snapping of the beak that sounds like wooden blocks being struck together. This behavior is used in courtship, territorial displays, and greeting between mates. White storks are especially known for this, performing elaborate displays where they throw their heads back while clattering. The sound can be heard from a considerable distance. In the absence of voice, the stork has found another language, one of rhythm and percussion, a mechanical music that echoes across rooftops and wetlands, conversation built not from breath, but from bone. The kakapo smells like flowers and musty honey. New Zealand's kakapo has a distinctive odor, described as sweet and musty, reminiscent of honey or flowers. This scent likely plays a role in their mating system, as males attract females, not just with booming calls, but possibly with scent as well. The kakapo's smell makes it easy for introduced predators, like stoats and rats, to find them, contributing to their decline. In the absence of mammalian predators for millions of years, the kakapo evolved without the need for camouflage or scent concealment. Now, every kakapo is monitored closely by conservationists. Their unique smell, once just another trait, became a vulnerability in a changing world. Yet it endures, a fragrant reminder of an ancient and fragile lineage. Sandhill cranes perform elaborate dances. Sandhill cranes are known for their courtship dances, which involve bowing, leaping, running, wing flapping, and tossing sticks or grass into the air. These dances are not limited to mating season. They occur year-round and seem to serve multiple purposes, strengthening pair bonds, reducing aggression, and possibly just for play. Young cranes learn the dance by watching adults, and each performance is slightly different, improvised in the moment. Flocks gather in staging areas during migration, and sometimes hundreds of cranes will be seen dancing together, a spectacle of movement and energy. In the marshes and fields, the crane's dance is a language without words, an expression of life, connection, and the simple joy of being. The turaco has copper-based pigments in its feathers. Most bird feathers get their colors from structural properties or carotenoid pigments, but turacos are unique. They produce their own pigments, tyrosine, which creates red and pink hues, and turacovodin, which produces green. Tyrosine is one of the only copper-based pigments in the animal kingdom. These pigments are water-soluble, meaning that if a turaco's feathers get wet, the color can run. In heavy rain, water dripping from a turaco may appear slightly pink. Native to Africa, turacos are vibrant, noisy birds that live in forests and woodlands. Their plumage is not just decoration, it's chemistry made visible, a rare fusion of biology and metal, painted across wings that flash crimson through the canopy. Mockingbirds can mimic over 200 different songs. The northern mockingbird is one of North America's most versatile singers. A single male can learn and reproduce the songs of dozens of other bird species, plus mechanical sounds, animal calls, and even musical instruments. They often sing throughout the night, especially during mating season, repeating phrases multiple times before switching to a new sound. The purpose of this elaborate repertoire is to demonstrate fitness and experience to potential mates. Older males typically have more varied songs. Mockingbirds have excellent memories and can retain songs learned as juveniles well into adulthood. In suburban neighborhoods and wild spaces alike, the mockingbird becomes a living jukebox, a voice that speaks in borrowed languages, and fluent in everything but its own. Emperor penguins endure the harshest breeding conditions on Earth. In the depths of the Antarctic winter, when temperatures plummet to -40 degrees and below, emperor penguins gather in colonies to breed. The female lays a single egg and immediately departs to feed at sea, leaving the male to incubate it. He balances the egg on his feet, covered by a warm fold of skin called a brood pouch. For over 2 months, he stands in darkness, blizzards, and extreme cold, eating nothing, losing up to half his body weight. The males huddle together for warmth, rotating positions so that each bird spends time in the warmer center of the group. When the chick hatches, the female returns, and the male finally leaves to feed. It's an act of endurance, almost beyond comprehension, a testament to the lengths life will go to continue. The shoebill stork stands motionless for hours. In the swamps of Central Africa, the shoebill is a patient predator. It stands perfectly still, in shallow water, sometimes for hours, waiting for prey to come within striking range. Its targets include lungfish, catfish, and even baby crocodiles. When it strikes, the motion is explosive, its massive bill clamping down with tremendous force. The shoebill's bill is one of the largest and most powerful of any bird, capable of decapitating prey in a single bite. Despite its size and power, the shoebill is surprisingly quiet, rarely vocalizing except for bill clattering. It is a bird of stillness and sudden violence, a living statue that waits in silence until the perfect moment to move. Budgerigars can learn to speak human words. Budgerigars, commonly known as budgies or parakeets, are among the best avian mimics of human speech. While they don't understand language in the way humans do, they can learn to associate words with objects, actions, or contexts. Some budgies have vocabularies of over 1,000 words. They learn through repetition and social interaction, often picking up phrases from their owners. Male budgies are generally more vocal and better mimics than females. In the wild, budgies are highly social, living in large flocks across the Australian outback. Their ability to mimic may have evolved as a way to strengthen social bonds. In captivity, they transfer this skill to us, speaking our words with their small, bright voices. Great blue herons hunt by standing perfectly still. Great blue herons are ambush predators. They wade into shallow water, freeze in place, and wait for fish, frogs, or other prey to come near. When the moment is right, they strike with lightning speed, stabbing or grabbing prey with their long, sharp beaks. Their patience is extraordinary, sometimes standing motionless for 20 minutes or more. Herons also hunt in fields, catching rodents, snakes, and even birds. They're adaptable and intelligent, adjusting their hunting strategies to different environments and prey types. Despite their size, they move with surprising grace. In the early morning mist along a riverbank, the heron is a shadow, a silhouette, a hunter carved from stillness itself. Swifts can eat, drink, and sleep while flying. The common swift spends nearly its entire life on the wing. After leaving the nest, a young swift may not land again for up to 3 years. It eats insects caught in flight, drinks by skimming water surfaces, and even mates in the air. Swifts sleep in short bursts while gliding at high altitudes, a behavior similar to that of frigate birds. Their legs are tiny and weak, adapted only for clinging to vertical surfaces. If a swift lands on flat ground, it may struggle to take off again. Evolution has streamlined them for perpetual motion, creatures for whom the ground is a distant, rarely visited place. The sky is not their territory. It is their entire existence. Clark's nutcrackers can remember thousands of food caches. In the mountains of western North America, Clark's nutcracker feeds primarily on pine seeds. Each bird harvests tens of thousands of seeds each fall and hides them in thousands of different locations across a vast area. Remarkably, the bird can remember the locations of these caches months later, even under feet of snow, Studies suggest they use landmarks and spatial memory to relocate their food. This incredible memory is essential for survival during winter, when food is scarce. The nutcracker's behavior also benefits the forest. Forgotten seeds often germinate, helping to spread pine trees across the landscape. Bird and tree are linked, each dependent on the other. Memory and growth intertwined. Ostriches can kill with a single kick. An ostrich's legs are powerfully muscled, and its feet end in hard, sharp claws. A defensive kick from an ostrich can deliver a force strong enough to kill a lion or seriously injure a human. These kicks are delivered forward with remarkable speed and precision. Despite their strength, ostriches generally prefer to flee rather than fight, using their speed up to 45 miles per hour to escape danger. They have excellent vision and can spot predators from great distances. In the open savannas of Africa, the ostrich is both graceful and dangerous, a creature built for survival in a landscape where speed, strength, and vigilance mean the difference between life and death. Scarlet macaws stay with their parents for over a year. Unlike many birds, which become independent shortly after fledging, young scarlet macaws remain with their parents for up to 2 years. During this time, they learn essential skills: where to find food, how to crack tough nuts, which fruits are safe, and how to navigate their complex rainforest environment. Macaws are long-lived and intelligent, and this extended parental care allows for the transmission of knowledge and culture. Family groups often travel together, and bonds between parents and offspring can last a lifetime. In the canopy, these relationships form the fabric of macaw society, a network of memory, teaching, and connection passed down through generations. Nightjars have enormous mouths for catching insects. Nightjars are nocturnal birds that hunt flying insects in the dark. Their mouths are disproportionately wide, surrounded by bristles that help funnel prey into their beaks as they fly. They open their mouths and fly through swarms of moths, beetles, and other insects, scooping them out of the air. Some species can catch hundreds of insects in a single night. Nightjars are masters of camouflage, with mottled plumage that makes them nearly invisible when roosting on the ground or along tree branches during the day. Their eyes reflect light, glowing red or orange in a flashlight beam. In the quiet of night, the nightjar is a silent vacuum, sweeping the sky clean of wings. Gannets dive into the ocean at 60 miles per hour. Northern gannets are spectacular divers, plunging into the sea from heights of up to 100 feet to catch fish. They fold their wings back into a streamlined shape and enter the water like arrows, reaching depths of over 30 feet. Air sacs in their neck and chest cushion the impact, and their nostrils are sealed to prevent water from entering. Underwater, they use their wings and feet to pursue prey. Gannets often hunt in groups, creating a feeding frenzy as dozens of birds dive simultaneously. The sight is unforgettable: white bodies streaking down through blue sky, vanishing into foam and spray, emerging moments later with fish in their beaks, a ballet of speed, precision, and hunger. The bearded vulture eats bones. Most vultures feed on soft tissue, but the bearded vulture, or lammergeier, specializes in eating bones. It drops large bones from great heights onto rocks to shatter them, then swallows the fragments whole. Its stomach acid is strong enough to digest bone, extracting valuable nutrients like calcium and marrow. This niche allows the bearded vulture to access food that other scavengers ignore. The bird's diet also gives its feathers a rusty orange color, as it bathes in iron-rich mud and dust, possibly for camouflage or social signaling. In the mountains of Europe, Asia, and Africa, the bearded vulture soars on thermals, eyes scanning the ground for the remnants others leave behind, the last course in nature's feast. Pelicans work together to herd fish. Brown pelicans and American white pelicans sometimes engage in cooperative hunting. They form lines or semicircles and drive schools of fish into shallow water, where they're easier to catch. The pelicans synchronize their movements, beating their wings on the water's surface to herd the fish. Once the fish are concentrated, the pelicans dip their bills and scoop up as many as they can. This teamwork increases the success rate for the entire group. It's a strategy built on coordination and communication, a shared effort where individual success depends on collective action. In coastal waters and inland lakes, the pelican's hunt is a quiet lesson in cooperation, patience, and timing. The wandering albatross has the longest wingspan of any bird. With a wingspan reaching up to 11.5 feet, the wandering albatross holds the record for the largest wingspan of any living bird species. This allows it to glide effortlessly over the Southern Ocean for hours without flapping, using a technique called dynamic soaring. The bird rides wind currents, gaining altitude in updrafts and descending in lulls, covering vast distances with minimal energy expenditure. Wandering albatrosses can travel thousands of miles in search of food, sometimes circumnavigating Antarctica. They mate for life, and pairs reunite at remote island breeding sites after months apart at sea. In their wings, there is freedom, there is endurance, and a mastery of the wind that feels almost beyond comprehension. Starlings fly in murmurations for protection and communication. In the evening sky, thousands of starlings gather and fly in coordinated swirling formations called murmurations. These mesmerizing displays serve several purposes: confusing predators, sharing information about feeding sites and roosts, and strengthening social bonds. Each bird follows simple rules, matching the speed and direction of its neighbors, and the result is a fluid, shape-shifting cloud that moves as one. No single bird leads. The pattern emerges from local interactions, creating beauty and complexity without central control. Scientists study murmurations to understand collective behavior, but for those who watch, the experience is simply breathtaking, a reminder that unity can be found in motion, that order can emerge from chaos. The anhinga swims with only its neck above water. Also known as the snakebird or darter, the anhinga hunts by swimming underwater, with its body fully submerged, and only its long, slender neck and head visible above the surface. This gives it the appearance of a snake gliding through the water. The anhinga uses its sharp, pointed beak to spear fish, then surfaces to toss the fish into the air and swallow it head first. Unlike ducks and other water birds, the anhinga's feathers are not fully waterproof, which reduces buoyancy and makes it easier to dive and pursue prey. After hunting, it must spread its wings to dry in the sun, standing on branches with wings outstretched like a living crucifix. In swamps and rivers, the anhinga is both predator and sculpture. Crows hold funerals for their dead. When a crow dies, others in the area often gather around the body, calling loudly and behaving in ways that suggest mourning. Scientists believe this behavior serves multiple purposes: learning about dangers in the environment, reinforcing social bonds, and possibly processing loss. Crows remember the locations where other crows have died and may avoid those areas in the future. They also remember the faces of humans near dead crows and may scold or mob those individuals later. This suggests that crows don't just react to death. They learn from it, remember it, and share that knowledge with others. In the quiet presence of death, the crow finds meaning, memory, and perhaps something close to grief. Dippers walk underwater to hunt. The American dipper, also called the water ouzel, is a small songbird that hunts aquatic insects and larvae by walking along the bottoms of fast-moving streams. It has several adaptations for this unusual lifestyle: dense plumage that traps air for insulation, a low metabolic rate to conserve oxygen, and strong legs for gripping slippery rocks. The dipper can stay submerged for up to 30 seconds, walking against the current as it searches for food. It even has a nictitating membrane that protects its eyes underwater. In mountain streams where few other birds venture, the dipper thrives, a small, fearless creature that blurs the line between land and water, between bird and fish. The greater roadrunner can run faster than it can fly. Though capable of flight, the greater roadrunner prefers to run, reaching speeds of up to 26 miles per hour. It uses flight only for short distances, usually to escape danger or reach a perch. Its legs are powerful, built for sprinting across desert terrain. The roadrunner's hunting strategy relies on speed. It chases down lizards, insects, and small snakes, striking with its sharp beak. It's also known for its resourcefulness, sunbathing in the morning to warm up by spreading its wings and exposing dark skin patches on its back to absorb heat. In the arid southwest, the roadrunner is a symbol of adaptation, a bird that chose the ground over the sky and mastered it completely. The tailor bird sews leaves together to build its nest. Found in South and Southeast Asia, the common tailor bird constructs its nest by literally sewing leaves together. Using its beak as a needle, the bird pokes holes along the edges of large leaves, then threads plant fibers, spider silk, or even human-made materials like thread through the holes to bind them. The result is a hidden, enclosed space where the bird builds a softer inner nest of grass and feathers. This stitching behavior is instinctive, but refined through practice. The tailor bird's nest is a marvel of engineering, camouflaged and secure. A tiny home sewn with precision in the green fabric of the forest. It's a reminder that construction, creativity, and care are not uniquely human traits. Hummingbirds are fiercely territorial. Despite their small size, hummingbirds are aggressive defenders of their feeding territories. Single bird may guard a patch of flowers or a feeder, chasing away intruders, including other hummingbirds, much larger birds, and even insects. They perform aerial displays, diving and chattering loudly to intimidate rivals. Males are particularly territorial during breeding season, as access to food sources can determine their ability to attract mates. This aggression is fueled by their high energy needs. Every flower counts. In gardens and meadows, the hummingbird is both jewel and warrior, beautiful and relentless, defending its resources with a ferocity that belies its delicate appearance. The New Caledonian crow makes hooks to extract food. Among the most intelligent tool users in the animal kingdom, New Caledonian crows not only use tools but also modify and improve them. They create hooked tools from twigs by trimming and bending them, then use these tools to extract grubs from tree bark and crevices. Some crows even make tools with multiple steps, such as using one tool to obtain another. They can solve complex puzzles and pass tool-making knowledge to their offspring, suggesting a form of culture. This behavior was once thought to be unique to humans and great apes. The crow, with its small brain and sharp beak, has rewritten what we thought was possible, proving that intelligence is not a matter of size, but of innovation. Bee hummingbirds are the smallest birds in the world. Native to Cuba, the bee hummingbird weighs less than a penny, about 2 grams, and measures just over 2 inches long. Despite its size, it shares the same high-energy lifestyle as larger hummingbirds: rapid wing beats, hovering flight, and a diet of nectar and tiny insects. Males are slightly smaller and more colorful than females, with iridescent plumage that flashes pink and blue in sunlight. During courtship, males perform acrobatic flight displays to attract females. The bee hummingbird's tiny size makes it vulnerable to predators, weather, and habitat loss, yet it persists in the forests and gardens of Cuba. In its smallness, there is astonishing power, a heartbeat faster than thought, a life lived at the very edge of possibility. The African grey parrot can understand concepts. African grey parrots are among the most intelligent birds, capable of learning hundreds of words and using them in context. Research with a parrot named Alex demonstrated that these birds can understand concepts like color, shape, size, and number. Alex could identify objects, answer questions, and even express preferences. He understood same and different and could count up to 6. When he made mistakes, he would correct himself. When he was tired, he would say, "Want to go back?" This level of cognitive ability suggests that parrots possess not just mimicry, but comprehension, abstract thought, and perhaps even a form of language. In the mind of an African grey, there is more than instinct. There is understanding. Pigeons produce milk for their young. Both male and female pigeons produce a substance called crop milk to feed their chicks. This nutrient-rich secretion is produced in the crop, a pouch in the throat, and regurgitated directly into the chicks' mouths. Crop milk is high in protein and fat, providing everything the young birds need during their first days of life. Gradually, the parents introduce regurgitated seeds and other solid foods. Pigeons are one of the few bird species, along with flamingos and some penguins, that produce this milk-like substance. It's a parental investment that allows both parents to share feeding duties equally, strengthening the bond between mates and ensuring the survival of their offspring. Even in common city pigeons, there is hidden tenderness, a biology of care. Egrets were nearly hunted to extinction for their feathers. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the fashion industry prized the long, delicate breeding plumes of egrets, herons, and other birds. These feathers, called aigrettes, were used to decorate hats, and the demand was so high that egret populations plummeted. Hunters would kill adult birds during nesting season, leaving chicks to starve. The slaughter was vast and brutal. Public outcry eventually led to the creation of bird protection laws and the formation of organizations like the Audubon Society. Egrets have since recovered in many areas, but the history serves as a reminder of how quickly beauty can be commodified and destroyed. The egret's white plumes, once symbols of vanity, became symbols of survival and resilience. The resplendent quetzal was sacred to the Maya and Aztec. In the cloud forests of Central America, the resplendent quetzal is a bird of extraordinary beauty. Males have iridescent green and red plumage and tail feathers that can extend over 3 feet long. The Maya and Aztec civilizations revered the quetzal, associating it with the god Quetzalcoatl and using its feathers in ceremonial headdresses. Killing a quetzal was forbidden. Only its feathers could be taken. Today, the quetzal is the national bird of Guatemala and appears on the country's currency. It remains a symbol of freedom, as it is said that quetzals cannot survive in captivity. Whether myth or truth, the belief endures. Some creatures are meant to remain wild, untamed, beyond possession. Snowy owls hunt in daylight. Unlike most owls, which are nocturnal, the snowy owl is active during the day, especially in the Arctic summer when the sun barely sets. It hunts lemmings, its primary prey, by perching on elevated spots and scanning the tundra for movement. Snowy owls have excellent vision and hearing, and they can detect prey beneath the snow. During years when lemming populations are low, snowy owls may migrate south in large numbers, appearing in unusual locations far from their Arctic home. These eruptions bring the owls into contact with humans, where their striking white plumage and yellow eyes make them unforgettable. In the brightness of endless summer or the stillness of deep winter, the snowy owl watches, pale and silent, a ghost of the far north. The peacock's tail is not for flight, but for display. The male Indian peafowl, commonly known as a peacock, has one of the most iconic displays in the animal kingdom. His tail feathers, actually upper tail coverts, can span over 5 feet and are covered in iridescent eye spots. During courtship, the peacock fans these feathers into a shimmering arc and shakes them, creating a rustling sound and a visual spectacle. Females, called peahens, choose mates based on the size, symmetry, and vibrancy of the display. The tail is heavy and cumbersome, making the peacock more vulnerable to predators, but the reproductive advantage outweighs the cost. In the wild, beauty is not frivolous. It is survival, encoded in color and pattern, a language spoken in light. The Australian magpie can recognize individual people. Australian magpies are highly intelligent and have remarkable facial recognition abilities. They can remember people who have threatened them or their nests and may attack those individuals during breeding season, even years later. Conversely, they can also recognize and befriend people who treat them kindly, sometimes following them, accepting food, or even bringing their young to meet them. Magpies are known for their complex songs, which vary by region and are learned socially. In suburban areas, they've adapted remarkably well to human presence, becoming part of the daily landscape. In the eyes of a magpie, you are not anonymous. You are known, remembered, and judged by your actions. The wandering albatross courts for years before mating. Albatrosses have some of the most prolonged and elaborate courtship rituals in the bird world. Young albatrosses return to their breeding colonies and spend years practicing courtship dances with different partners, learning the complex sequences of head bobs, wing stretches, and calls. Eventually, a pair forms a bond, and once they do, they typically mate for life. The courtship dance becomes a private language between the two birds, unique to their partnership. They may spend months apart at sea, but when they reunite, they perform their dance, reaffirming their bond. In this slow, careful choosing, there is patience, commitment, and the understanding that some relationships are worth the wait. The common loon's call is iconic in North American wilderness. The haunting, tremolo call of the common loon echoes across northern lakes, a sound synonymous with wild places. Loons have several distinct calls. The wail, a long, mournful sound used to locate family members. The tremolo, a laughing call signaling alarm. The yodel, used by males to defend territory. And the hoot, a soft contact call. These vocalizations carry long distances over water. Loons are excellent divers, capable of staying underwater for several minutes and diving to depths of over 200 feet to catch fish. They are ungainly on land, as their legs are positioned far back on their bodies for swimming. In the stillness of a northern dawn, the loon's call is a reminder that some places remain untouched, some voices still wild. The hoopoe uses foul-smelling oil for defense. The hoopoe, a striking bird with a crest of feathers and a long, curved beak, has an unusual defense mechanism. When threatened, the hoopoe and its chicks can produce a foul-smelling oil from a gland near the tail. This oil, combined with bacteria in the nest, creates a scent so unpleasant that many predators are deterred. The smell has been compared to rotting meat. Hoopoes also have another trick. They can jab aggressively with their beaks, and chicks will hiss and strike at intruders. Despite this, hoopoes are beautiful and beneficial birds, feeding on insects and grubs. In parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa, the hoopoe is a welcome sight in gardens and fields, a bird that proves beauty and stench can coexist. And now, as the final fact settles gently into place, let the stories of birds carry you softly into rest. We've flown across oceans and mountains, from Arctic ice to tropical forests, from the smallest hummingbird to the widest wingspan in nature. We've watched crows remember faces and hold grudges across years. Penguins endure Antarctic winter in devoted huddles, and swifts live entire lives in the open sky without ever touching ground. Each bird, no matter how common or rare, how large or impossibly small, carries within it a story of adaptation, survival, innovation, and wonder, shaped by millions of years of evolution. You've listened to over 100 of these stories tonight, each one a small window into the incredible diversity of avian life. And whether you remember them all or let them dissolve like morning mist, they've been here with you, filling the quiet spaces between waking and sleep, between consciousness and dreams. Birds remind us that life takes countless forms, that intelligence and beauty appear in unexpected places, in feathers and song and silent flight, that the sky is not empty, but filled with journeys we can barely imagine and barely comprehend. Somewhere right now, at this very moment, a nightingale is singing in the European dark. An albatross is gliding over endless southern ocean waves. A swift is sleeping on the wing thousands of feet above the earth. An owl is hunting in perfect silence. And you, resting here, are part of the same world, breathing the same air, held by the same gravity that keeps birds aloft, connected to every wing beat and every call through the invisible threads that bind all living things. So let your thoughts grow soft and gentle. Let your breathing slow and deepen. Let the weight of the day fall away, like molted feathers drifting on wind. The world will still be here tomorrow, full of wings and wonder, waiting for you to notice. But for now, just rest. Let the birds carry you gently into dreams, and may those dreams be filled with flight, with song, with the endless, quiet beauty of a world that never stops moving, never stops singing, never stops trying to teach us how to soar. If you're still awake, you can go ahead and watch the next chapter now. But if your eyes are heavy and your mind is drifting, simply let go. Sleep well, dream softly, and good night.